So this is my 1969 Ford F100. It has a full Scotts Hot Rods IFS in the front with the 4-link in the back, an Explorer 8.8 back there. I got a Gen 1 Coyote from a 2014 Mustang. It took me 2 years to build this thing to where it is right now. It is not complete, but it is drivable, and I am driving it every single day. So here's kind of some progress on this whole deal. So this whole project started with the 66 Beetle that I built. I wasn't really a Volkswagen guy, and I spent a lot of effort making that car perfect and exactly what I wanted it to be, and then sold it, and I bought this beauty right here from a friend at work. So I've got my independent front suspension and 4-link rear ordered, both of them set up for airbags. It takes about 8 to 10 weeks to come in, and I'm pretty excited about that. That gives me 8 to 10 weeks to learn to weld. I got the thing stock with a later 302 in it. The 302 was tired, and I was considering having the 302 rebuilt. And I figured by the time I spent all the money rebuilding that engine to what I wanted it to be, I'm just gonna do a Coyote because I'd probably end up doing a Coyote anyway. So I took this thing out and got rid of it. Now I gotta take all this out. So I'm keeping the frame, obviously. Gotta cut this out, gotta cut that out, gotta take the engine mounts off. I'm gonna mention it a few times, but I have never done anything like this before. When I did the Beetle, I had it bagged. Someone else bagged it and did the welds, and that pissed me off so bad that in order to do this project, I went out and I bought a welder, and I taught myself to weld. Here's all the stuff. A notch for the tie rod. These are for my 4-link. This is for my panhard bar for the back. This is just a lot of stuff here that's gonna go on this truck. I don't know what some of it is, but I figured it out along the build. It wasn't too hard. I really had fun doing it, and I'm really just, this whole project was just awesome. These are my motor mount, my Coyote motor mounts. Got my C-notch for the rear end, which is mandrel bent. I have no idea how I'm gonna put those in because I can't find anyone that's done it online and see any pictures of what they did. But I think I got a good idea of what I'm gonna do. Even though I said I had no idea what I was gonna do, and then followed that up with, I got a pretty good idea of what I'm gonna do. Yeah, so that's how this whole project went. So from cutting out the K member, this edge is just really shitty, especially over here, from cutting off those factory welds. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut this piece out and weld in a new piece so that I have a nice clean surface to put my nice clean K member on. I've got these plates welded in, right? And then I measured from this opening to this opening is 29 inches. From this end of the frame to this end of the frame is 33.5 inches with a difference of 4.5, and that divided by 2. I made this 2 1/4 inch thick right there. And then when I put this on here, about where it needs to go, it's pretty much perfect. I got the fender sitting in place. That is like just beautiful. It just fits right in the center, and I'm so happy with it. And it's gonna be low. That's not even all the way down. That'll be all the way down, and that is gonna be low, bitch. Hell yes. I am fucking impressed with myself on this. Never done anything like it. It's freaking sweet. All right, so I got the bag plates mounted on both sides. I'm happy with that. I got my bag notches in. I centered my bag notches on the center of the wheel line instead of the center of the K-member, which I was supposed to do, but it's not gonna be a big issue. All right, so this is what I'm gonna do today. I got this 2x4 rectangular tubing held in place here, and this is pretty much everything below that is pretty much how much I want to cut off the frame in order to clear the frame so that the whole body can lay on the ground. I just want to make a disclaimer real quick. I'm not a professional fabricator. I've never done anything like this before, and what I'm showing you now might not necessarily be the right way to do it, but I'm just showing you how I'm going to do it. I did a little bit of research on this. I couldn't find a whole lot on it, so I figured I'd just share a way to do it if someone's looking to do it in the future. This way you don't have to do a body drop and you don't have to modify the floors of your truck. Basically, I'm just bringing the bottom of the frame up so that the body can sit on the ground instead of the frame. So again, I'm not a professional fabricator. I'm just a guy having fun in my garage. Got my POR 15 on the frame after I got that shit all modified and cut up. Now I have body mounts set in place, and I'm going to put this bad boy back on. So now the truck is sitting in my garage level, and I measured to the bottom of the rockers to the floor, and it's 17 inches when it's up on jack stands. And then I installed my A-arms and my front wheel and put that at full drop and measured from the bottom of the tire to the floor, and that's 14 inches. So that tells me that I need to get the front suspension to be able to drop 3 extra inches. And so to do that, I'm doing what they call Zing the frame. I'm ready to Z my frame. I got my lines marked out. I'm gonna cut right on the insides of these tape marks. I got those measured, they're parallel with each other and equal distance over there. And I welded in these feet. I have 1 behind the cut on each side, 2 inside the cut, and 3 in front of the cut. And then I made this little frame here just to frame everything in so that the front and the back on the outsides of the Z stay in perfect position so they don't move out of alignment and mess up the whole truck. So the thing that I learned is this frame here is at a 4 degree angle going in on the bottom. So the top is out more than the bottom. So when you raise it up, you get a gap. So I made this fish plate right here that just covers this front part of the frame. And then I made this bigger one to go over the top of it. Don't be like me and underestimate how much work it is to Z the front of a frame on an old truck. So here's a look at the full notch. 3 inches. So that's how I Z'd my frame. Yeah, so basically I've never done anything at all, even remotely close to anything like this, and it worked out great. Like I said, I taught myself to weld to do all this, and I kind of just made it up as I went, and it worked. So this morning, I stripped the 6 brackets that held on the leaf springs and the shock off of the back of my frame. And besides the fact that it's filthy, it's ready to start the 4 link. I welded in my C-notches. There's obviously a lot more work that needs to be done to make them strong, but this is good enough for me to mock up my rear end until I get some scrap metal and kind of box it in here and just make it a lot stronger. All right, I got my 4 links tacked in place. So what I did was I measured and measured and measured and measured. I made marks here and here, about 18 inches, center of the axle on both sides, and I measured a bunch, measured in and out, back and forth, in and out, back and forth, in and out a whole bunch of times until I got the axle where I was happy with it in its final home. And like I said, I did that at 3 degrees, and then I tacked in my 4 link. All these clips are from videos that I have made and already posted to YouTube, so you can see all this stuff in those if you go to my channel, and you can also see that bug that I did and got rid of in order to do this project. You should definitely check that thing out too. It's pretty sweet. The whole time I was building this thing in a 2-car garage, it was very inconvenient. I have a GT 500 that I had to put in storage for like a year and a half during this whole project, and that was just sad. This project was literally one of the coolest things I've ever done. And every time I drive the truck, it just feels so much better than any new vehicle you can drive. You know, when you make it yourself, it's just that much better. Since I don't know what I'm doing, I can do whatever the hell I want. So I'm gonna put a smaller piece under here, weld that in, clean up my welds a little bit so I can slap this on top. And then weld that in and fill the gap. So this worked out really good. I put the doubler underneath this and then welded that in and kind of smoothed it over with the grinder. Next week I need to do the inside, and I'm going to kind of build the same kind of, and I'm going to put something like the same shape as this in there. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to put my rear axle in place, and then I need to cut the middle of my bed out to clearance the C-notch, and then I need to put my bed on. So I built the truck to this ride height right here, and I don't like it that high, so I ended up not being at this ride height, which I probably should. You know, that's where the truck should be, but instead I drive about 1.5 to 2 inches off the ground because it's so much cooler looking than lifting it up like a normal car would be, you know what I mean? Today is a big day because I finally got the fucking motor for my truck.
Fucking motor.
So we got the jumper cables hooked up to a car, to the positive and negative terminal of this harness. We have to put gas into a secondary container. Unfortunately, probably not the safest thing to do. But the engine's where it's gonna be. I'm gonna need to massage the floor here with a hammer, which isn't a big deal. Oh, but it's gotta be this high up, which is pretty freaking high up. Yeah, so the engine's really high up. Basically the 3-inch Z brought the K-member up and the ground closer. So in order to get ground clearance on the transmission, it's pretty much gotta be this high up. You could go lower if you wanted, but I didn't. And this is what I ended up doing, and I'm happy with it. And as you can see here, the transmission is really high up in that floor. You can see here is where the floor was. And so I had to cut all that out because that's how high it is. Even had to cut some of the firewall. So I got my frame all hand painted with POR 15. It needs a second coat in some spots, but overall it's looking pretty good, and that's a big milestone. And I got my homemade transmission crossmember painted up. Everything's all welded, and I'm actually really, really happy with what I was able to put together with what I had, so that's really cool. I took this piece of angle and I bent it around all these curves in the firewall. And then in order to bend it down from 90 degrees, I cut little triangles out of the whole thing all over the place, as you can see. And then I tacked it in once there, and then tacked the whole firewall. For the most part, it looks like crap, but once I grind it down, it's gonna be fine. And then I made the second part of the tunnel the same way as I made the first. I had to cut it around so I didn't put it on top of this part. And then I tacked the whole thing up, And I welded it to the side of the old tunnel where it went up. And the same on this side, but I did my best to keep it as far over as possible so I have room for my foot for the gas pedal. Look at how high up that drive shaft is. That is so far up. Oh, it's like 100% above the floor. Hell yeah, dude. I got this in. I don't think I'm gonna win any awards for it, but goddamn, it looks good for being my first time. You can see how I cut the bed out to clear the notch here, and then I'm starting the bed frame for a new raised bed floor. My hinges are in, and they are sturdy, and they work great. And I think those are gonna last a long time. I got a 16-gallon tank from Boyd's Welding, and it is a nice piece of equipment. And that's that. My fuel tank is mounted. I went to Tractor Supply, and I got myself 2 tractor fenders, and I got this steel, and I brought it to work and borrowed a slip roller. And so I'm going to widen these fenders. How wide? I don't know. So I widened my fenders and I put them into the bed and tacked them in a bunch of places around that frame I made. And I want to make sure they're strong. So my big ass is about to stand on these things and see if they break. Let's put 200 and I don't know how many pounds, 235 pounds on there. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, that's a strong wheel well. Let me come over to this one. Yep. All right, the front bag mounts that I originally got on the truck are bad. Well, they're not bad, but they don't work correctly. As you can see in this picture right here, they don't come out far enough, so the bag really isn't sitting comfortably. So the original bag plates for the front that I got from Scotts didn't fit correctly, so I had to get new measurements for them so they could send me out a pair that fit better. And when I got them, you can see here without my head in the way, they fit perfectly. And then these bag notches that I put in at the beginning are supposed to clear into the frame so the bags don't rub on it. I didn't need them at all. So if you have this set up, do not put in those notches until you know you need them. This is my Coyote swap 1969 F100, and I have a Lokar shifter for my 6R80 that has sport mode. I have a big issue here. Since I don't know what I'm doing and this is the first time for me doing a project, there are a lot of things that I didn't plan ahead for, such as putting a front cross member in and not even thinking about how it's going to affect the radiator or anything else. And as you can see here, the lower radiator hose is going to go right into that cross member. So I measured where it needed to be and I just notched it. And that's it. Notched it, cleaned it up a little bit, not looking for perfection. That's it. Cool. So that's gonna look all right. We got fuel pump.
Full pump engaged.
That is fucking loud. So I installed my whole air system. As you can see, I got 2 tanks and then I got a compressor on each side. The center of the bed is going to open where the tanks are. So I need to make panels on each side for the compressors that I can remove for easy maintenance. I made a relay panel for all this stuff and I put it right behind the seat. It's got 6 relays and a couple little fuse panels. And I got, I think it turned out pretty good for never doing something like this. I got 2 relays, one for each compressor in the air system. I got 1 relay for the line lock, and I got another relay for the trans cooler fan. And then I have 2 extra relays that will be hooked to something someday once I, get more accessories in the truck that might need a relay. I had a video where I made this really cool thing for my manifold and tank and compressors to go. None of that worked out, so I was forced to put my air manifold right between the gas tank and the tailgate, which isn't anything for form, it is 100% for function. I got these custom Dakota digital gauges from Airlift Performance and it's really nice. You just hook up your own fuel level sender from the tank and you got to hook up a line for the oil pressure. But then for everything else, you can hook it all up to the OBD2, and that's going to give you your battery voltage, that's going to give you your water temperature, your tachometer, and your speedometer from the Coyote computer, which is really nice and really easy. I think they look great. So here it is, left side, right out of the collector, straight back to the muffler and a turn down. Only thing I had to do here was I had to put a notch in the transmission cross member so the exhaust had a place to go. I hope that's strong enough. It's got a couple gussets on each side, and I'm pretty confident that it's going to be okay. And then the passenger side comes back and comes over the cross member, and because that is lower here, this is higher up, I had to make a little joggle down here in order to get to my muffler, and then a turn down. So that's really straight up simple. I got a support brace right here on each side, and that's it. And it's loud, and I like it. Keep going for a seatbelt. I don't have a seatbelt.
All right.
See, you gotta really slam on these motherfucking brakes. Just
So
coasting, don't even need the gas pedal.
How do you feel?
Good. This is amazing.
Yeah.
It'll be 2 years next month since I pulled it into the garage.
Woo!
Ooh, it's loud. So that's it. That's my truck so far. It's not complete, but it is my daily driver for the most part. The to-do list is long, so there will be another video, a part 2 to this in a couple years, because I need to do a lot of things. I need to make inner fenders, I need to do the whole interior, I need to do the whole bed floor, I need wheels and tires, I need to do an AC system, I'm going to upgrade the brakes to big brakes, and right now it's a one-wheel wonder, so I'm going to change the rear gear and put an Eaton True Track in it. I'm going to make my own inner fenders for the front, hopefully soon, but probably not. And hopefully when I'm done, I will be cruising the car show circuit just so I can get it out and take it on some road trips. I need to get new seats because this stock bench seat sucks. Yeah, there's just a lot. Like, I need cruise control. I definitely can't live without that for too much longer. Electric windows would be nice. Electric door locks would also be nice. I need to figure out what I'm going to do for the bed floor to make it hinge. I think I'm going to do air actuators on that, so it'll be nice and easy to open and close. I put a roll pan on it that I'm not going to paint. I'm just going to put Gibbs oil on it to hopefully keep it from rusting. I need to do something about the exterior just to kind of shine it up a little bit and put all new trim on the outside. Need to make a center console once I get seats to match the interior that I need to do. Need a dash pad. The list goes on and on and on and on and on and on. But it's a sweet ass truck and I am really enjoying driving it. So if you're watching this video in like 2025 or 2026 or 2027 or something that's not like now, then go check out part 2 that shows the rest of this truck build. Otherwise, just hold on tight and you can see all the other progress videos as I'm going along. So check it out. Peace out.